Hey everybody, it's Chris with chrisbello.com, and today I want to talk to you about how to create or increase your hunger. And I'm not talking about hunger as in, oh, I'm hungry, I missed lunch. I'm talking about hunger, your drive, your passion to be successful and to push yourself past what most people would call normal levels of effort, right? So there's a couple different articles that I was referring to when creating this video and creating my podcast episode on this topic. I always am a big fan of researching what other people have done before creating content because other information's out there. It's all about compiling it and taking action on bits and pieces of content out there. So there were two articles in particular that I referred to. The first is called How to Develop an Insatiable Hunger, and this article was on success.com by Michael Pietrzak, and I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but Michael has 5 points to really think about. The first point is to take 10 minutes a day to think, why do I want it? You really want to be sure to ask yourself, why do I want this? Number two, spend time with people who have what you want. So you want to make sure to spend time with the people who have the things that you want, they have the experiences that you want, because chances are the more time you spend with them, it's going to help you really increase your drive and say, man, I want those things too. I want that life. Let me do what it takes to get there. Number three is to burn the boats. Tony Robbins talks about this all the time. Whenever you get to the island, burn the boats. There's no retreating. It's either you win the battle or you get killed in battle. The importance of this is to make sure that you don't have a plan B, because if you have a plan B, it's going to distract from your plan A. Number four is to move your body. So as you increase your energy, you increase your movement in your exercise and things like that, you actually increase your drive. It's physiological, right? When you work out or when you're running, you get that runner's high. That literally releases endorphins and things like that are going to help you push yourself to do more. My cat is meowing. Number five is to make inaction incredibly painful. The example that's in the article is to vote for the opposite political party that you support, do something like that, or post online and make yourself be held accountable. Because if you post about something and then 5 weeks later, 5 months later, people start asking, hey, what happened with that idea you had, that business you started? What happened with this, whatever, certification you were supposed to get? Did you ever get it? You don't want to look dumb because you ended up backing out and changing your mind, right? You want to be held accountable and make sure that you take the thing to the finish line. The other article that I wanted to talk about was on entrepreneur.com by John Brubaker, and that article is called The One Thing That Pushes People to Succeed. And there's also 5 points in this article that I'd like to run through for you. The first point being, hunger eliminates failure as an option. When you're hungry for something, you are going to find the solution to it. You're going to push through. You're going to make sure that you figure out what it is that you need to do to make that thing happen. When you're not so hungry, you're like, I don't really need this. I don't really want it. If it doesn't work out, so what? I'll try again in a few years, right? Number two, hunger drives improvements. So when you're hungry, you're going to find ways to make things better. If you're not hungry, you hear the people who say, it's okay as it is. Why change it? Why if it ain't broke, don't fix it. They're okay with the status quo because it's good enough, right? But you know that good enough really isn't good enough if you're hungry and you're willing to get better. Number three, hunger fuels solutions. So you're starting to think more creatively constantly when you're hungry and you're motivated. You're always thinking like, what's the next thing? How can I make something better? What is the solution to this problem? You don't come up with excuses. People who aren't hungry, people who are complacent, they come up with excuses for everything. If you're hungry, no excuses. Number four, hunger is a driver. You don't need to micromanage people who are hungry because they're self-driven. They want to succeed. They could push themselves harder than you would be able to push them, right? There's a certain number, I can't remember the exact number, but I remember hearing about a study where people who make like $70,000 to $150,000, they're relatively the same level of happy. You're not that much happier after a certain level when you can pay the bills and all that good stuff. You're not going to get happier getting another $10,000 a year. Now, if you can get $50,000, $100,000, $500,000 more a year, obviously there's different levels that you're trying to achieve, and you'll start to feel the difference in lifestyle as you level up. As you become a millionaire and a multimillionaire, things like that, you're going to be living differently than when you were making minimum wage, pushing grocery carts at the store when you were 16. It's just how it goes. but there's certain levels in there where you're not going to feel a huge difference. The main thing I'm trying to say here is that hunger is a driver. Like when you're self-motivated and you're just wanting to be successful for the sake of being successful, you don't need to be driven by like a bonus or things like that, external rewards. Your rewards are internal, intrinsic. And then number 5, hunger opens eyes. You realize that when your back's against the wall and you have no other options, your eyes are open to the opportunities, the possibilities, like what opportunities can I expand upon, right? If you see something that most other people would overlook because it's not in their pay grade and you really dig into it, like how can I expand that opportunity to the business or to my company or to my idea? And as you really drill into that, you're going to be able to unlock levels of success that other people who are just complacent and okay with the status quo are not going to find. So those are some of the tips that I wanted to talk about for hunger today. I hope you got a lot out of this message. Just remember to stay hungry. And if you're at that level where you're starting to settle in and get a little complacent and happy with where you are in life, it may be time to kind of get around some other people, go see some nice houses that are out of your pay grade and start to level up. When I went to the Arete Syndicate live event a few months ago now, I believe, or was it last month? The time flies. I think it was actually last month. When I went to the Arete Syndicate live event, Ed Milet was saying, how many, a lot of you out here would like to make $1 million a year, right? And I think he asked people to raise their hands and they raised their hands, how many would like to make $1 million a year? And then he kind of checked them a little bit and said, let me tell you, when you get to $1 million a year, you realize it's really not that much. And he started running through the costs, not to brag, of owning a private jet, owning and maintaining a jet on an annual basis. And the numbers were crazy to like maintain it and keep it clean and like, I don't know, whatever else they do for a jet. I'm not on that level yet, so I don't really know the maintenance schedule. But he was saying that you need a lot of money to be able to play with something like a jet and have that for you in your arsenal. But the main thing was he was saying to shift your perspective, expand your goals, think bigger, because if your goal is $1 million is not what it used to be. Your goal should be multi-millions or even higher, beyond. So anyways, that's just a way to change your perspective and remember that maybe you think you're okay where you're at. You're maybe making like $100,000 a year. You're solid. You got a cool car in the driveway. You have a nice house. Your wife also makes 6 figures, dual income, right? You're satisfied. You're comfortable. Your kids go to private school. But that ain't enough money to be able to buy and afford something like a jet. They're playing at a different level. In any case, increase your level of hunger. If you get complacent, remember to go over these points that we talked about today and kind of try to create that inner fire inside. I've even heard some people going so far as to like when they get a lot of money, they lock it away and give the keys to like their parents to those accounts and say like, I'm trying to internally create that hunger again, where you kind of go broke. You don't have the money to access. Because if you got like $500,000 saved up from different businesses and stuff, you're going to be comfortable where you're like not that motivated to push yourself more. Some people might. Some people stay motivated. If you put that away or invest it all away where you kind of feel broke again because it's all put away, that will help you fuel yourself to start pushing harder again and like rebuild those resources. That's all I have for you today. Make sure to go check me out at chrisbello.com. Check out my podcast, the Entrepreneur Motivation Podcast, available on iTunes and Spotify and all those places where you can listen to podcasts and access them. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, comment below, or you can reach me at chrisbello.com/contact. I look forward to seeing you on the next video and hope you have a great week.